Oh, and we are live. Welcome back, everybody, to Behind The ToolBelt, episode 273. Thank you so much for joining us on this magnificent Wednesday. It's about 60 degrees and sunny out here in the great state of Pennsylvania. Vic, my amigo, the man, the myth behind the scenes, is actually driving my vehicle. And which I'm not very used to, and it's not really scary, but something that I could probably get used to. But anyhow, we're on our way out to a GAF event. We thought, instead of waiting or postponing or doing this early, we thought we would go ahead and do this, stream this live, do something a little bit different. On our way out to the GAF event out in Columbia, Ohio, which we are meeting our great friend and our partner, Chris Hofstra, with Lead Scout. We'll have a Lead Scout booth set up, and not exactly sure because what's to come of this. If this works out, this is the first time we ever did anything like this. We have cameras set up in the truck. We're streaming live from my iPad. And, not exactly sure how this will turn out, but you know how we roll. And the funny thing is, so Vic and I, we've been on the road for, I don't know, probably only an hour. And, we stopped at a rest stop. And as I was getting out of the vehicle and we did a little Chinese fire drill here, and I jumped in the passenger seat, Vic was jumping in the driver's seat. I thought to myself, like, dude, Vic, you and I have been through some shit, and there is not much, if anything, and with Chris Baker when it pertains to Behind The ToolBelt, but in general, in life, there's not much that you and I, when we put our heads together, that we have not been able to accomplish. You know, and this is just one of many things, you know, to come, and many, you know, things that we've accomplished over the years together, you know, even prior to us teaming up with Behind The ToolBelt, Ty Cobb Backer, Lead Scout, and all the things that, you know, we kind of get ourselves involved with. And most of the time it's me getting us involved with. And I even said something to Jana last night, like, yeah, I got us into something else, you know, and she was like, no, it's fine. You know, like all the supporters, the support, you know, everybody. And yeah, I was kind of hoping what we could do is bring people in, but unfortunately and although I might be able to bring it up on my phone, and, you know, make it like a Q&A, ask Ty anything on the road, because if this goes off the way that we think this is going to go off, we're also going to be traveling next Wednesday as well. So we'll be streaming live from the cockpit of my truck on our way to Atlantic City. And if you're just catching us now on this, we're on our way out to Columbia, Ohio. I kept telling everybody we're going to Columbus. I don't know why I was thinking we were going to Columbus, but we are not heading to Columbus. We're heading out to Columbia. No, we're heading to Columbus. I'm sorry. I'm all screwed up. We've been traveling at least once a week, doing these quick little one-night trips. GAF was so gracious to allow us to travel with them at their events, and it's been phenomenal. GAF has been a great partner of Ty Cobb Backer and has been a great partner of Lead Scout. So hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm going to actually try to go to my page and see if there's anybody there.
Oh, we sound good.
Okay. So, okay, good. Well, all right. For some reason I lost my I don't know if I completely lost service or what's happening. But hopefully you guys can hear us. Once we figure this out, it'll get a little better. I'm going to try to see if I can.
Oh, you're back.
Are we back? Yes. Okay. So we're back. Plus two, we're going up through, Kitty Mountain and all that stuff. So we may end up going through a tunnel and losing you guys. But anyhow, I was kind of hoping we could get somebody to come in. And, I think what happened is when I tried to get on the page from my phone, again, this is kind of an experiment, but, I guess you guys are going to have to just put up with me and Vic for probably the next 30 or 40 minutes as we produce this podcast. And that's the thing. That's the unique thing. And we are actually getting ready to go through the Tuscarora Mountain Tunnel. So if we lose you guys, hang in there real quick. Vic is going to put the pedal to the metal and get us through this as safely as possible. As you can see, we are both wearing our seatbelts. We are now actually inside the Tuscarora Mountain Tunnel on our way to Columbia. So before I, dig into a topic or anything like that, I'm just going to, point out the excitement of the GAF event that we're heading out to. If you're not familiar with Lead Scout or what it does, the capabilities and the new features that have been launched, don't hesitate to hit me up in Messenger. If you are a door-to-door salesperson and you're looking to organize or enhance your sales at the door, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, and I can explain to you or give you a brief rundown on what Lead Scout can do for you as an individual, but most importantly for your company. So anyhow, hopefully we're still live. We didn't lose anybody or anything like that, but I think it's pretty unique, or actually pretty cool, that we made it through the tunnel and didn't lose signal. So anyhow, since I can't get anybody in here, and I don't want to mess with this too much and get cut off here, but we'll mess with that at a different time to see if we can't bring people in. I noticed that there's at least 6 of you watching right now, at least on my personal Facebook page. And we will post this to YouTube and Google Play, Apple, and all that good stuff. So, and maybe next time I'll drive and Vic can be at the helm of the controls here with podcast and stuff. But anyhow, we're really excited about this new form of content that we're going to be producing. So we're going to be doing more things like this. We're not just going to be in studio on Wednesdays. We have a lot of things cooking. So please pay attention and watch. Vic is posting a lot of content. There'll be a lot of things that he'll be posting that we've been working on. And one of them is going to be like probably like a taxi cab confession, a lot like we're doing right now. We've been working on Brick by Brick, which is like a spin off of Behind The ToolBelt, but within the Behind The ToolBelt platform. You'll be able to go to our Behind The ToolBelt YouTube page and be able to listen to me and my thoughts of, business, thought leadership, personal development, and just really probably mostly my opinion on a lot of topics that we usually don't discuss or get as deep on, I guess, during our normal, Wednesday afternoon lives. And a lot of this will just be recorded, not edited, probably just, if it's an hour of me running my mouth, Vic will probably cut it up into like 10, 20 minute segments. That way you guys don't get bored, because we understand that your time is valuable and it's tough to pay attention and listen to a complete podcast. And we might actually, I think over here, I might actually be able to see comments. Oh, I can. There's Kim Smith. So if you guys have any comments or questions that you want to ask me, I actually just pulled up the comment section here. Hi, Kim. Hopefully you guys can hear us. Please put in the comments if you can hear us or not. I'm sure reception might be a little spotty as we go through the mountains and through the tunnels and stuff like that. But I think I want to talk about the at least for this second is, and did I explain enough about, some of the new content and stuff?
Yeah.
That we have coming up?
Yeah.
Okay.
So don't we get anybody sharing out those.
Oh yeah. So if you're out there, obviously normally we share these out to all the Facebook groups. So if you guys are out there listening right now and you think there's somebody out there that may need to hear this, on a weekly basis, maybe not necessarily this episode, please share this with them, because really we're just trying to make an impact, not necessarily on just the roofing industry. Of course, we're roofers that host a podcast. This is not a roofing podcast. Like, we don't sit here all day long talking about, driving nails and shingle types and, wind warranties and things like that. Of course, we know all about that. If you guys ever have any questions, please post them in the comment section. below, and I'll answer any of those questions to the best of my ability. But mostly it's about personal development, thought leadership, impacting other people with our actions, right? And usually we talk about the positive impact that we can have, but we also talk about the stuff that might not be so positive and stuff that most people don't like to share on social media, like the woes and the changing of the seasons. Like the universe and Mother Nature goes through different seasons, right? There's a spring, where things start to blossom, things start to get green, things start to grow, the smells are different, and then there's winters, right? The complete polar opposite, right, of spring. And a lot of times, us as human beings, we go through seasons and not necessarily always align with those seasons. It could be summer, August, mid-August, hot, where, you would think would be a joyful time in most people's lives, but we as human beings tend to go, our seasons don't necessarily always align. And what sticks out to me, and a lot of you have heard me talk about, like, the season that I went through when my mom passed and what compiled that. And I think what extended that was, first and foremost, it was uncontrollable. There was an uncontrollable situation that I couldn't control. My mom was sick. And then 6 months shortly after that, Jana's mom passed away. And I'll be honest with you, as most human beings, when bad things happen to us, it's like right away, we just want to point the finger, right? It's gotta be somebody else's fault. It's not my fault. And in this case, I was mad. I didn't even know who I was mad at, but I was mad at God at that time in my life. And I was pushing people out of my life. There's a support group that I attend, and I was pushing them out of my life. And it was I felt like there was a dark cloud over me for a while. And the craziest thing, and this is what I want to talk about with seasons, not aligning with like the universal seasons that we get to experience with the changing of fall and into winter, and which are all good things that need to happen. And my point is that it sucked at the time. And honestly, and I think Jana and I both were going through this for like a 3-year, 36 months. We went through where it just felt like this dark cloud. I wasn't very excitable. I was just kind of like melancholy, not even necessarily content, not necessarily irritable and discontented, but just, I was probably more so irritable and discontented, than I was melancholy or content, but I was just kind of going through the motions, right? Like, and we briefly listened to a podcast, and the guy was talking about, like, when you wake up, are you waking up with purpose? Are you waking up excited? Are you waking up, ready to take on the world with purpose and with some form of structure and goals and set in mind? Or are you waking up with zero purpose and just going with the flow and dealing with things, like not even being proactive, and I feel like in that time, I was just kind of waking up and going through the motions, and it wasn't a very growth at that time. I didn't realize I was going, through pain, there's growth, but I didn't realize it at the time. I just thought it was a real shitty time of my life. And when I was talking about pushing people out of my life, and I believe in God. I'm sorry if there's somebody on here that may not agree or disagree. I know that there's a power out there greater than myself, and I just choose to call it God, whether it's a group of drunks, good orderly direction, and or a gift of desperation, GOD. So today I decided I just choose to call it God. Okay. I know that somewhere out there in the universe that something has been watching over me. I do know that. And what I had discovered through that pain and through that growth, because fortunately I didn't grieve with it very well. How I grieved with it was, one, I learned from that, like, I need to grieve things, and I needed to get out of my system. And some of that was due to my grieving for as long as I grieved, is that I wasn't sharing it with anybody. Nobody. I didn't even talk about it. I didn't even cry. I stuffed it. And then how it started to come out was there was other situations in my life where it would veer its ugly head, where I would blow things out of proportion, right? And I'm like, where is all of this anxiety and fear and sadness coming from? And I had realized that it was from stuffing. And my point, and the thing that I want to point out is that we tend, as adults, as children, we tend to block things. And then when we get older and become adults, like that tends to define who we are, the amount of stuff or trauma that we experience as children, and not sharing it or working on it or even praying about it, right? But for me, sharing it with another human being and getting back to the point where I was pushing people out of my life, right? So my higher power, speaks to me, I don't hear voices, but it speaks to me like in books that I read, through people, right? So if a problem shared with someone is a problem cut in half, right? And I just felt like I didn't want people to think that I was weak or pity me and poor Ty, but I'm the one that suffered through those 36 months of going through that crap. And I mean, it was crap, okay? And it was because I was bottling it up. And yeah, of course, Jen and I would talk about it, but it was like we were both sitting in our shit. And I wasn't opening up to my support group. I have a support group of men and women, mostly men, that I've leaned on to consult with, to find answers, business, answers and solutions and other issues in my life. But for whatever reason, I held on to this. And the moment I started to kind of let go and let God was the moment I realized that I started to push God out of my life, the moment I started to push these people out of my life, because my higher power, and not to keep digging down into this God hole that I'm in right now, but I'm sharing my experience, because screw the glam shots that everybody posts, life is good. No, it sucks at times. Life really sucks, and we go through so much shit. And I think we feel like, as men, especially men, and I'm not trying to push women out of this equation, because I watched Jana go through it too, but I think for me as a man, it's difficult for me to share my problems with other people, because it's ego, it's my pride gets in the way, because I don't want you to think I'm weak because I'm being vulnerable. But one of the other lessons I learned was the more vulnerable that I am, especially with my team and coworkers and my friends, and people that support me and love me, the more stronger not only does that relationship become, and the more open, but the more we can achieve, the more transparent and more vulnerable that I am, because I want to deal with everything. I take that into every aspect of my life, that I can do this. No one can do it better than me. I'm going to deal with the grieving of my mom. And there's a lot of good things that came out of that. Our charitable events picked up my empathy for people, how to cope with grieving, loss. And we can deal with loss on many different levels. It doesn't necessarily mean a loss of a loved one. It could be a change at work. It could be, I wrecked my car and I have to get a new car. It's like we grieve and we don't even know that we're grieving with these things, right? And we stuff it. Or it could go to the other side where, and I'm sure we've all been around these people that just won't shut the fuck up, quite frankly, right? And that's when it's kind of like, please shut the fuck up. If you don't like where you're at, please do something about it. Change something in your life, right? Stop bitching about it. But see, that's where I go. I don't want to be that Wendy whiner either. So then again, I'll bottle that shit back up. But if you're venting, and it's not even venting, it's like, hey man, I really need to share something with you, man, because either I'm gonna drink, I'm in a bad spot. I can't function well. I'm not parenting well. I'm not being a good significant other, right? All of these things that we try to deal with on our own affect every aspect, our sleeping, our eating habits, our working out patterns, all of those things. And, you know, and where I'm kind of at right now, I'm not, thank goodness, we are coming out of a winter. And I do kind of go through like a seasonal, situational depression. So of course my spirits are up, because my seasons are kind of aligned with the universal seasons, fortunately, right now. But I'm quicker to respond, not react. You know, respond to when I start to feel things, you know, and I work out. I try to eat the best that I possibly can, and I start to feel a difference either way if I'm not working out or if I'm working out on a regular basis. And these are tools and mechanisms that I've put in place for me to deal with stress, right? To get a good night's sleep, and because the bottom line is, it's like I have not been put on this earth to be a miserable person. Like, we're not built to be miserable, right? And when you come across a miserable person, like we got a client right now that we feel like we just can't, no matter what we do, we can't get happy. And one of the conversations I had this morning with Glenn was about, you know, unfortunately, this has nothing to do with us. And it's unfortunate that this older person who's retired has not identified the things that I'm sharing with you on how to deal and cope and what is actually going on with us. And typically what's happening today isn't something that I'm going through today. It's something that I allowed to control me, that happened to me later. And this is the other thing too. It's like our outside environment doesn't necessarily dictate how I feel today, unless I allow that to. It's about what I've done, the exercising, and exercising, when I'm talking about exercising, I'm talking about like what content and media am I feeding myself, right? If I'm watching Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, and all this other horse shit with all the negativity going on, what do you think is going to happen to me? I'm allowing my outside circumstances. I have a choice. I have a choice if I turn the TV on or not, right? And what content I'm absorbing. I would much rather produce positive content myself, quite frankly, like this, and tell people, turn the freaking TV off and start watching Behind The ToolBelt, bitch. Right? Don't be a hoe, share the show. I stole that from Andy Priscilla, by the way. But I don't even know how long we've been on here, and I don't see any questions. Oh shit, here we go. There's Zach, Gio, Victor. Need to pull over at a truck stop. Yep, I don't see any questions in here. Hey Chris, sorry, I thought I was going to be able to pull you in, but the way that we have stuff set up here. Julie's on there. My roof girl, what's up?
Yeah, thank you for your support, man.
How will you spend your time complaining about it or doing something about it? How will you? Okay, so how would I spend my time? How would I spend my time complaining about it or doing something about it? That's the thing. Like, if you don't like your circumstances, get off your dead ass and do something about it. And if you don't know what to do, that's where you simply just raise your hand. Raise your hand and ask somebody who's in a position or a place where you want to be. And this is the other thing too. Don't judge people's outsides to your insides either. And I think that's what social media has really done to us. It has distorted our thinking and perception to the point where we feel like we're not meeting our expectations because we see all these glamour shots on social media and stuff. Don't get caught up in that horseshit either. Okay, because let me tell you, those people that are usually posting those posts with the Lamborghinis and the gold watches and all that stuff, trust me, they probably don't want to show you their P&L, because this is the fact. Your business also goes through seasons. If you're not having a correction season every 3 years or so, then you're probably not growing. And if you're not growing, you're going, right? And that, again, what got us here over the past 3 years won't take us through the next 3 years either. So anyhow, again, I don't know. What's up, Jack Hook? how long we've been on here.
I don't know.
So, if there's any other questions, greatest source of our suffering are the lies that we tell ourselves. Julie, that is great. To thy own self be true, right? You know, when we say to ourselves that nobody would know, we know, right? When you have to wake up every morning and look at yourself in the mirror, right? And the grimy shit you may have done at some point in time, that will veer its ugly head in one way, shape, or form, whether it's through karma and outside circumstances that are really shitty happening, right? And you ask yourself, why is this happening to me? Chances are you probably did something shitty, or you're not doing something to change your circumstances. But I love, we just saw the other night, somebody shared with us their chip. And the first thing I saw on it, it says, to thy own self be true. And if you don't understand what that means, you know, being gut honest, level honest with yourself. Like, I think we tend to tell ourselves, you know, lies, whether good or bad. Like, we're much bigger or better and greater than we really think we are, or we're less than. You know, and I think a lot of that has to do with the content that we're consuming and the sum of the five that we surround ourselves with, right? That can either boast you up or bring you down. So just trying to think of see if there's any other. Thank you, Jesus. That's right, Chris. I was kind of hoping I could pull you in here. We'll try to figure that out next time, but I'm very thrilled that this has worked out. Hopefully, I'm assuming everybody can hear me, you know, with the amount of comments in here and all the love that you guys are showing for us right now. But that's kind of where I'm at, right? I'm coming out of the winter and we're coming into spring, and I'm physically ready to start blossoming and growing and learn a lot of new things. And what I've learned, what has been taught to me is designed to be, you know, taught to somebody else. I'm a firm believer of that. If I passed away today, what good would it be to anybody else but myself? And that sounds pretty selfish, and I don't want to be a selfish person. So any content that I feel that might be relevant, I want to share with other people. Any programs, any of those things that, you know, that I've tried to, you know, instill in myself. I tried to, you know, I was just talking to, we were doing an interview yesterday, and yeah, we're a roofing company. We do roofing, right? But, you know, we don't only just build roofs, we build leaders, we build cultures, we build you know, people up. And is it always perfect? No. We recently had a person that was upset, and I don't know if they're watching this right now. And it was just a reminder of a weak spot that we have in our culture, where I feel like we weren't uplifting. We were too quick to point the fingers. And then one of our core values at TC Backer is leave no one behind. And what that means is that if we see somebody struggling, we kind of swoop in. But not just that, you know, we don't point the fingers. We don't throw people under the bus. We either jump in and grab the bull by the horns and do it, right? If it gets to the extent of, like, this person is just being defiant and outright not doing it, but the chances are, with the culture that we have, that there was something else more going on with that. But, you know, again, another learning experience for us, you know, and that's the stuff. It's like, yeah, I could say, yeah, TC Backer, we're great. But anyhow, with that interview, this is what I was expressing. And Brian and I shared more of the bad stuff. Like, this is hard work. It's going to be grinding, you know, it's going to be grueling. And a lot of people don't make it. You know, our expectations for each other at times, and it's a lot to ask people, it's probably really unrealistic. But when you surround yourself around enough unrealistic expectation setting, high performing people, you tend to attract those types of people. Kind of like what I was talking about with Vic and I, like, there's not much that we can't accomplish. And I've experienced that with Tam, Amanda, Brian, Mike T, Chris Baker, and the list goes on. Sam, Kim, Jana, Rocket, even small projects at home that I'm sure my family thinks there's no way we're going to get this done in a day or over the weekend or whatever. I couldn't have did it without their help. Right. And that's the thing about teamwork and the culture building, and leading by example. And I know Glenn just went down to Delaware yesterday and finished out a rubber roof job. Him, Bender, and Cody. Right. Like, how freaking much more could you possibly lead by example? Oh man, there's all kinds of comments. I'm sorry, guys. Eric Aikens, good to see you, brother, if you're still on here.
Eric.
I wish I could see how long we've been on here.
We're probably about a half hour.
About a half hour into it. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. We're heading out to Columbus, Ohio, this week. We're going to go out here for the day. We're going to set up tonight. And for Lead Scout.
You want to talk about a little bit about maybe the changes coming for Behind The ToolBelt?
Yeah, we can dive into that if you're just tuning in. So there's some changes coming up. Our weekly live episode that we do every single week, we're going to switch the dates up. Well, now we're not going to switch the day that we actually do it, but we're probably going to start doing only one live when it comes to Behind The ToolBelt and having a guest on the show. Now, that doesn't mean we're going anywhere. That just means that it's going to give us more time for content creation and good content like this to put out there. It could be things like a taxi cab confessional. Some of them might only be 5 minutes long, but Vic's going to be pumping out a boatload of content, and those hours that it takes, because this is the thing that people don't understand. We don't just hit the live button every Wednesday. It starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. So after 1:30 every Wednesday that happens. So that time, right, we're going to make better use of that time to create more content. So you'll see more things like this. You'll be seeing me doing more lives from my personal page and producing on, content in that way. But the actual Behind The ToolBelt, where we have all started, I think it started on Tuesday night. We went to Wednesday. And then it was 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then it went to noon. Well, we're kind of switching things up a little bit because we don't want you guys to suffer from viewer fatigue. I don't want you to get tired of our content either. And plus, it'll give us more time to get better guests on our show, right? Because not that the guest, I shouldn't even have said better guests, but we're really, we've had people on the show twice, sometimes 3 times. Well, there's a lot of people that have been reaching out to us that are in the trade space, not even necessarily the roofing industry, but like sales coaches and professionals that want to come on. My good buddy Woody is coming on the show, I think in April. He owns a auto repair body repair shop, but he deals with insurance claims just like we do in the roofing industry. So just about every event that we're at, Woody's there, right? Because he's built relationships, a referral program, right? Because the chances are if their car has suffered damage from a hailstorm, so has their roof, or vice versa. If their roof has suffered, storm damage, the chances are that their car has also suffered some damage. So Woody's coming on the show. Vic and I got to spend some good quality, inspirational time with him at Erico's event, XL event in Cayman Islands. And him and Vic actually, I've known Woody, but Vic and Woody had kind of just galvanized a really good relationship. And I know those guys communicate on a regular basis. So Woody's coming on the show. Woody's got some great guests that, so we're going to be switching things up. We're going to have some different guests coming on the show from the trades, but not necessarily just the roofing space. And we're not switching from that format whatsoever. We're still going to have the Deshaun Bryants, the David Taggarts, the Ericos, all of those people are still going to come on the show because they're actually the first early adopters. And since we didn't get to do our intros, I want to give a big shout out to Hook Agency. So anybody that's looking to improve their SEOs, their website, reach out to Tim Brown or Jack Hook over at the Hook Agency. Incredible guy, incredible company, incredible culture that totally aligns with everything that we try to do here at Lead Scout and TC Backer. Big shout out to Lead Scout. Lead Scout was an early adopter. Great partners. If anybody's looking for a canvassing, tracking, sales enhancement tool that has a picture taking feature that you can put notes in, you can set statuses, you can put tags on every door that you knock, even if you didn't knock it, and you just want to go back to it and revisit it. You can set all kinds of statuses. If you do get the inspection, you can put notes in there. You can put tags in there, all kinds of stuff. So anytime you want to know more about that, reach out to me or my partner, Chris Hofstra. Okay. Roofle, Mike Goldenstein, and Travis Herbega. Freaking phenomenal company. Joe Huffman, an amazing leader, an inspiration to a lot of us, especially me, myself, and Travis and Mike being early adopters for sponsorship on Behind The ToolBelt. Love you guys. Love the support that you guys have always shown us. And I hope that our relationship is as reciprocal as yours has been, to us. So thank you guys. And then of course, the OG TC Backer Construction and the entire TC Backer family. We would have never been able to do this, nor would we have ever thought of it if it wouldn't be the impact that we're trying to have on our local communities. Big shout out to Chris Baker, one of the original OG founders, co-producer, co-host of Behind The ToolBelt. And, we're really excited about this new direction that we're taking, new heights, new levels. We're going to experiment. We're going to do all kinds of crazy shit like we're doing today. We're going to try to figure out how to go live from an airplane. We got some great relationships with some, transportation companies. We might be on the Rabbit Transit going down, the George Street in York. Who knows? We might be in Austin in public transportation there. There's going to be a lot of exciting things and we're really stepping this thing up. So please stay tuned. Please, if you haven't loved, subscribe, please do that. We would appreciate that. If there's anything that you've heard on this podcast that you think somebody should listen or hear this, please share this with them. And we appreciate everybody's love, support. We wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you guys. So hopefully this was as helpful to you as it is basically therapeutic for me too, to kind of get things off my chest sometimes as well. But thank you so much for tuning in every week. We appreciate everybody for tuning in and watching this and listening to us run our mouth. Vic, is there anything else that you want to share? Or
I think Gio has a question over there. I can't really see it.
Okay, let me pull that up. Giovanni, Gio, Victor needs more. We're at a truck stop. That was 29 minutes ago. Are you bringing back local businesses? Great freaking question. Yes, we are. We're bringing back local businesses. I don't know how far outside of the trades we're going to go yet, but as far as bringing in, maybe Mike Lose with Regal Plumbing. Obviously we've had Chris Markey on the show, but there's a lot of great people, especially local companies that have supported us in many ways than one, whether through our charitable events, through referrals, through the network, right? That'd be a whole podcast. The network, is our net worth. Maybe we'll talk about that on the way to Atlantic City next week. Yep. And potentially maybe we'll figure out how to pull this in. It might actually be easier for me to do it on my phone. I don't know. but we're going to figure that out. That's what's cool about this. Nobody says we can't do what we're doing, right? We're just trying to think outside the box here a little bit. And I strongly suggest you do that in your life today, right? If you want the car, go buy the freaking car, right? If you want whatever it is, the only thing holding you back is the 6 inch between your ears, right? That's it. So Vic and I, a month or two ago, we're like, dude, what's next? Right? Not that I was getting complacent, but it's like, unfortunately, I was getting too comfortable with it. And if you know me, comfortability is where dreams die, right? That is the place. That is the planet. Planet comfortable, right? Is where dreams go to freaking die. I'm going to turn the air on. Do you care? Okay. I'm going to turn the air on. Do you care? Okay. Anyhow, don't go to Planet freaking Fitness. No, I'm just kidding. Go to Planet Fitness. You want a better physique? You want a better body? Like, you're the only one holding you back. You know what I mean? So comfortability was starting to set in, and it has for a minute.
Yeah.
You know, and I really want to get back to the grassroots bootstrap podcasting, question asking, where we came from, right? And really just take this thing to the streets, really take this thing to the events that were, yeah, I know we were doing interviews at the events and all this stuff. No. And all that was structured and timed out and wasn't. So it was like one extreme to the next. It's like, you know, we're going to think outside the box, and we're going to get super uncomfortable. You know, that's what coming out of the winter season is doing for us right now. So what a better time than on a freaking Wednesday to go live from my truck, have cameras set up in here. There'll be more cameras in the truck. We might even be traveling with our guests. Depends on where we're at. We may have our guest in the vehicle with us at the time as we're doing podcasts. So we're having fun. We're having fun with this. So if there's a topic you guys want to hear, please, by all means. Okay. You were agreeing with what I was saying. No doubt. Well, I tried to answer, but thank you for agreeing with me. Love that. 25 minutes on. Who else on it? 25 minutes. Thank you, Jesus. That's right, Chris. Yep, you're fine. Did I see Tim Hook? I hope you're driving to Minnesota. LOL. We're actually on our way to, Ohio. We're going to Columbus, Ohio.
The home of the Ohio State.
There you go. We're staying at the Hyatt tonight. So Chris, or, Tim, I don't know how far Minnesota is from Ohio, but, I know Hofstra's driving from Michigan, Grand Rapids, about 5-hour drive.
Get your ass in your car.
Get your ass in your car and get down here and see us at the GAF event. I'll get you a ticket. If you need me to register you, I will. No problem. I'd love to see you there. That'd actually be freaking phenomenal.
Tell him to throw Jack in the car too.
So, hey, Zane, let Carl know that we're going to be in Columbus, Ohio. I don't know how far that is from you guys, but come on over to the GAF event. We'll get you in. All right. So I think I'm done running my mouth. Anything else? Anyone else? Anything else? Let's go. I don't think I see anything else in there, but, two men. Thank you, Tina. I'm pretty sexy, aren't I? Oh, and so is that. Okay. All right. I think I answered just about everybody's question on there. So till next week, come up with your questions. We're going to be doing the same thing heading to AC, and I'm sure you're going to see more content coming out produced by Victor Uri, my man, the myth, the legend, the man behind the scenes, the gracious, most humblest dude and politest guy. Well, it's Facebook. I'm just glam shot. That's okay. Glam shot. That's all. Just glam shot of that girl. But anyhow, I love that too. So love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. And this time I swear to you, I am trying to figure out how to get off social media here. Figure out a way to And this feed, actually 42 minutes. I did pretty good running my mouth by myself. With your help, of course. 44 minutes. So settings, closed caption, you go over here, edit, fast, delete. Oh, do all.
Hey, just let it run.
Then run.
Someone not
Follow us.
You can follow yourself.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Really?
What's this? What happens by the way? What's over? Oh, okay. All right. Well,
I guess we didn't think that far out.
no, we didn't. We didn't think this far out. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully I'm still on there.
You are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just live. And this is one of the beautiful things about going live, right? You should try to figure shit out on the fly.
Yep.
Figure shit out on the fly while going live. Something's really popping up. And I'm wondering if I get on my phone here. Trust his phone. Okay. You have to do phone. Live. Okay, chat. Told you. That's what I didn't want to happen. But maybe it's not that bad. So if we do this, I can actually do a live chat. I can bring people in. Lungs on the other side. Where is the end button? All right. It's been a long time since I did this for my phone. Engaging the crowd, that's good stuff. Oh, I can actually see more people's comments from here for some reason. Don't distract Vic as she's driving. That's right. There's 10 viewers even when you're searching for an idea. Document don't behave. I feel like I'm watching an episode of Cobb's Backer. That's the point, brother. That's the point. No doubt. All right. I don't even know how to get the hell out of here, Vic.
Well,
No.
hold up.
Oh, that just turned phone. Okay. That's great. Where's the end button?
I think you got to go. Well, you still on
There's no end button.
Start Joe for.
But there's no end button. That froze. Oh, it's right here. Bye. That's cool that it switched over.
Yeah. And you still have to count.
Yeah. All right. I can actually share it from here too.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we just learned something.
Yeah, we just learned something. Might be easier next week. He said, this is funny, buddy. Eventually, the camera will die. Well, I'd have to unplug the camera for the camera to die.
No, it'll die when we get to Columbus.
Yeah. I'm sweating like asshole. That's it. Dude, it's good. I think it's warmer in Columbus than it is in freaking
Pennsylvania. Warmer up here in the mountains for a change.
Right? Dude, there's no end button. I swear to you. I've been doing Facebook Lives for frickin' ever.
I think it's probably because we're connected through the Macs. I don't know. Try getting that red button that's on the camera.
All right.